This is a moment of destiny for Singapore.
Dawn comes gently to the equator. The sky shifts from deep indigo to pale rose, then bursts into molten gold as the sun edges above the horizon. Far out to sea, hulking cargo ships emerge from the haze, their hulls heavy with goods bound for every corner of the globe. In the harbor, cranes stretch like steel giraffes, plucking containers and stacking them in perfect order. On land, the air smells of both salt and street food. Hawker stall owners roll up their shutters, the sound clinking against the morning chorus of minnow birds. Steam fogs the glass of bao baskets. The syrupy richness of kopi fills the air. Overhead, in the central business district, mirrored towers catch the sunlight and fling it back into the sky. This is Singapore, barely a speck on the map, smaller than many cities, yet a name synonymous with efficiency, prosperity, and ambition. How did it get here? What transformed this humble trading post into a titan of finance, industry, and innovation? Today, we travel through time, into moments of doubt, flashes of inspiration, and decades of unwavering resolve to understand the miracle of the Lion City. August 9th, 1965. The city wakes under a blanket of humid clouds, but it is the political atmosphere that feels heavy. Overnight, the map has changed. Singapore is no longer part of Malaysia. In kampongs, the stilted wooden villages, roosters crow against the background crackle of radios announcing independence. In living rooms, families sit still, the clink of porcelain teacups the only interruption to the news. The skyline is low and functional. Shop houses, the odd warehouse, cranes at the docks. Jobs are scarce. Housing is cramped. Water supply is precarious. Ethnic and cultural diversity, Chinese, Malay, Indian, Eurasian, is a source of richness, but also, if mismanaged, of potential unrest. Internationally, the experts are not optimistic. Some label the separation a fatal blow. Others give the young nation 5, maybe 10 years before absorption into a stronger neighbor. But within the government's sparse offices, maps are unrolled and plans are drawn. If survival is uncertain, the only choice is to make it certain. Imagine renting an empty storeroom, hanging up a sign that says "Open for business" and waiting, with no stock, no suppliers, and no guarantee anyone will come through the door. That was Singapore in 1965. Its leadership had to choose carefully. Which industries to court first? How to house hundreds of thousands in humane conditions? How to feed an economy that had not yet truly begun? Every decision was a calculated risk. Each success was a proof of concept. Perhaps small nations could thrive without natural resources. Brick by brick, high-rise by high-rise, the foundations of the modern city began to take shape, both literally and figuratively. Geography had dealt Singapore a rare card. It sat at the narrow throat of the Malacca Strait, a maritime passage linking the Indian Ocean to the Pacific. Through this channel passed oil from the Middle East, manufactured goods from Japan, raw materials from Africa. But location is only potential. It must be activated. The port's expansion became a national priority. Deep water berths welcomed the largest ships. Customs procedures were streamlined. Turnaround times sliced in half. Soon the island was not just on the route, it was the stopover, the place traders trusted to handle their cargo quickly and well. From here, Singapore began to think not as a peripheral nation, but as a central hub. To build prosperity, the ground must be solid. For Singapore, that meant eradicating corruption before it could take root. The young government set uncompromising standards. Laws would be clear, enforcement impartial, bureaucracy efficient. Business licenses, permits, and procedures were designed not to trap entrepreneurs, but to enable them. Investors began to notice. Here was a place where deals closed on time, contracts were honored, and political shocks were rare. In a region where unpredictability could scare capital away, Singapore's steadiness became one of its most attractive exports. Without oil, gas, or minerals, Singapore turned to the one asset it could grow: human capital. Education reforms swept through classrooms, aligning lessons with the skills the economy would need next year, in 5 years, in 10. English became the working language of government and business, giving Singapore direct access to the global marketplace, while mother tongues preserved cultural identity. Technical institutes turned out machinists, engineers, and designers. Universities encouraged research, problem-solving, and innovation. This wasn't just workforce training, it was national survival strategy written into every curriculum and classroom.
In the early years, Singapore's heart beat to the rhythm of machinery, the clang of hammers and shipyards, the steady hum of assembly lines producing radios, televisions, and semiconductors. Manufacturing was the sturdy workhorse that carried the nation forward. But wise captains don't sail with a single sail. They rig their vessel with many, so the wind, or its absence, can never halt their voyage. In cabinet rooms, a long-term vision took shape. No single industry should hold the nation's fate in its hands. So, step by deliberate step, the economy became an intricate mosaic. Finance rose alongside manufacturing, its glittering skyscrapers housing banks whose reach extended across continents. Petrochemical plants took root on Jurong Island, transforming raw crude into high-value products that would supply industries from Tokyo to Toronto. Tourism flourished, drawing travelers to a city where streets gleamed, gardens bloomed, and cultures intermingled effortlessly. Then came the era of biomedical sciences, information technology, and digital innovation, sleek laboratories and buzzing co-working spaces joining the chorus of industry. Each sector was another piston in a powerful engine array, independent yet perfectly synchronized. When a global downturn dimmed one market, the others kept the lights burning. It was a safety net woven not from caution, but from foresight, ensuring that no external storm could easily sink the ship.
An economy's strength lies not only in what it produces, but in how efficiently it moves. In Singapore, the arteries of commerce were built for speed, precision, and endurance. At the eastern tip of the island, Changi Airport rose from reclaimed land, its planners envisioning not just runways and terminals, but an international calling card, a space where every traveler's first and last impression would be efficiency wrapped in warmth. Under its vaulted ceilings and sunlit glass, orchids bloomed, koi ponds shimmered, and travelers moved through security and boarding in a fraction of the time they expected. To the south, the port of Singapore became a marvel of automation and organization. Massive cranes traced graceful arcs across the sky, unloading containers with ballet-like precision. Cargo ships that lingered for days in other harbors were serviced here in hours. Beneath the surface, unseen by most, a lattice of fiber-optic cables pulsed with data, linking the island to the heartbeat of the global economy. Even the nation's roads, rail lines, and water systems were designed with the understanding that a delay in movement could be a delay in opportunity.
This was infrastructure as philosophy. If time is money, then efficiency is wealth.
From the polished boardrooms of multinational giants to the bustling energy of startup incubators, Singapore positioned itself as the meeting point of ambition. The message was clear. Here, the rules are transparent, the taxes are competitive, and the playing field is level. Foreign investors arriving for the first time found a government that spoke the language of business fluently, offering a hand not just in welcome, but in partnership. Intellectual property, so easily vulnerable in less regulated markets, was guarded here with legal armor. The bureaucracy, often a stumbling block in other nations, was a streamlined ally, trimming the fat while keeping the muscle. This environment bred an unusual symbiosis. Global corporations set down roots, bringing capital and expertise. Local entrepreneurs thrived in their orbit, learning, adapting, and sometimes rising to compete on the same stage. Deals could be conceived over coffee in the morning and inked by evening. In Singapore, business wasn't merely conducted, it was cultivated. Step into a meeting room in Singapore, and you might be greeted by a German engineer, a Filipino project manager, a Singaporean data analyst, and a Nigerian marketing strategist, all brainstorming on the same whiteboard. This is no accident. From the start, Singapore's immigration and labor policies were designed to attract global talent, to pull the best minds into its orbit, while ensuring local skills grew alongside them. The result is a workforce that is as cosmopolitan as the city's skyline. In these collaborations, ideas cross-pollinate. A problem viewed through an American lens might find its solution in Japanese design principles or Indian engineering ingenuity. These constant exchanges sharpen creativity and resilience, producing innovations that carry the stamp not just of Singapore, but of the world. Beyond the offices, this openness is mirrored in the streets, in the aromas curling from Little India's spice stalls, the intricate lanterns of Chinatown, the strains of gamelan music drifting from a Malay wedding. Every cultural thread adds to the national tapestry, making Singapore both a hub of commerce and a celebration of human variety. The measure of a ship is not in calm waters, but in high seas. Singapore's voyage has crossed more than one tempest. The oil crises of the 1970s that jolted global trade routes. The Asian financial crisis of the late 1990s that toppled regional economies. The SARS outbreak of 2003. The Great Recession of 2008. And, most recently, the COVID-19 pandemic. Each time, the nation's reflexes were tested. Rather than wait for the storm to pass, Singapore adjusted its sails mid-tempest, stabilizing its currency, injecting liquidity into the markets, offering targeted lifelines to affected industries, and investing in new opportunities even as uncertainty loomed. Plans drawn up years earlier, in quiet times, became the blueprints for rapid, coordinated action. When neighboring economies stumbled, Singapore often emerged bruised but upright, ready to accelerate again. The world began to see this not as luck, but as design, a resilience engineered into the very framework of governance, business, and society. Behind the ports, the policies, and the polished skyline lies a more subtle force, the collective spirit of its people. Here, progress is seen as a shared endeavor, not an individual race. Rules are followed not out of blind obedience, but from an understanding that order is the foundation on which ambition can be safely built. Yet this discipline is not rigidity. When the world shifts, Singapore adapts, often faster than larger nations weighed down by bureaucracy or politics.
A construction worker takes pride in the precision of his bricklaying. A scientist obsesses over the clarity of her data. A chef perfects the layering of flavors in a bowl of laksa. This meticulous care, repeated in thousands of daily tasks, accumulates into something monumental. It is this spirit, equal parts pragmatism and aspiration, that transforms plans into outcomes, that keeps the nation not only afloat, but ahead.
From a vulnerable port city with no hinterland to one of the world's most admired economies, Singapore's ascent is a testament to what vision, discipline, and unity can achieve. Its skyline, all glass, steel, and ambition, tells of material success. But the truer monument lies in the nation's invisible infrastructure, its governance, its adaptability, its people's shared belief that challenges are opportunities in disguise. In an era where the pace of change can overwhelm even the strongest players, the Lion City stands as both a blueprint and an inspiration. Its journey whispers a truth to all who care to hear it. Greatness is not about the size of your territory, but the scoop of your vision and the determination with which you pursue it. And as night falls over Marina Bay, the lights of Singapore shimmer on the water, a constellation of human achievement, set against the endless horizon.